Ringside Boxing. Yeah, this is one of the events I do every couple of months. It's fun, something different from just your typical medicine you do day in and day out. Only issue I have is you have to wake up super early to get there. You spend your Saturday morning. Besides that, it is great. This is me just walking through my building, headed to the arena, essentially. So this is me arriving at the venue. There was a lot of fighting going on. I think there's jiu-jitsu, karate, and then boxing. But boxing was the event I was helping out with. And so one of the things we do is do pre-physicals. We do physicals on all the fighters before they jump into the ring, and essentially just make sure that they are able to fight and are not going to get any injuries or have no underlying health conditions that could sneak up and again cause harm to the fighters or the patients to me. And so, most of these fighters are extremely healthy, have no active issues. So the physicals are really quick and they leave without any issues. Now, I can't say that about every fighter. Again, this is amateur, so sometimes we have people who are 40 plus, 50 plus, maybe boxed like 20 years ago and want to get back into it. They're entering their first tournament, and you really have to give them a good physical to make sure that they are good to go. And it's funny because sometimes, this is not like when you come to the office and I can go through your whole medical history and find out about any kind of issues you have. There is a risk to the patient, trying to disclose certain things, but, it's just different than regular office work. Yeah, so on the back wall, there's a bunch of athletes lined up. I'm just seeing them as they come in. Again, quick physicals, making sure that they're okay to fight. I don't see anything that would bar them. The other one thing I would say is there's certain rules about, if patients were KO'd, they cannot fight again. There's a block of time for which they cannot box again. Or essentially they have to go to a neurologist, get checked out, or a PCP, and just make sure that they're in good fighting condition. But they aren't able to even come to see me for the fight because they're just barred by the boxing organization from being seen again, or at least fighting again for, a period of time. Now again, some athletes do have private physicians that may sign off on them, but most of them don't, and most of them are getting their pre-op physicals done. So this is me just preparing, getting ready. Again, when you get into the boxing arena or near the ringside, essentially, you meet all of the referees. They kind of just make sure that everyone knows everything that's going on. You also meet up with the paramedics who are sitting off to the side in case that somebody has an injury that needs to be looked at. Doesn't always happen, but I definitely have sent people to the paramedics. And again, they're there to transport anybody who has a serious injury. And you can see in the back of me, there's all the referees. And they just take turns rotating out. And some of these referees come from all over the country. They could be coming from Hawaii. They could be coming from New York. They could be coming from anywhere. That's me possibly looking at an injury. No, there wasn't really any bad injuries during this. So it's just a fight. And again, most of the fights are really good, especially if the athletes are pretty seasoned. You don't tend to see many injuries. The most injuries you usually do see are, again, people who haven't been boxing for a long period of time, or they're really green, and then they just start throwing wild haymakers, that kind of thing. But, if this is their 5th, 6th, 7th tournament, it's pretty controlled. They have a lot of respect for each other. I guess the problem is when they're really green is that their adrenaline's pumping, they don't remember their training, and it can get pretty wild. But this fight was pretty good, and the whole event altogether, there was no real issues. Now, every now and then, you definitely do see a knockout, and you get escorted into the ring really quickly by the referee. You do an examination right there. Basically, you're checking their neural ability. Are they following your commands? Are they tracking you with the eyes? Do they understand what you're saying? Can they continue to fight? You determine that really quickly. And then you make a quick assessment. Are you going to let them sit on the sideline? Is the fight done? Are they going to go to the paramedics? But you just make those decisions on the fly. Now, one of the stranger things that did happen in a fight a couple months ago, there was a fighter. He did really, really well. He was from overseas. He won his fight, wasn't really injured from what anyone could tell. The team did his physical as he was leaving the fight. And about 30 minutes later, his wife came up to me and said, he doesn't remember anything. He doesn't remember winning the fight. He doesn't remember the fight at all. You think concussion. So a patient came over, I examined him. His physical was fine, but again, he couldn't remember exactly what happened before the fight. Coherent, all that kind of thing. So I had him go sit with the paramedics. Paramedics watched him for an hour. He did start to remember things. So again, most likely minor concussion. He was given instructions about how his wife should watch him, keep him up. We gave him emergency service numbers, that kind of thing. He was fine after all of that, but that was one of the stranger things where a guy that looked totally unscathed won the fight, and then, finding out he can't remember anything. Okay, and here I'm just doing clearance after the fight. Again, you want to make sure that there's no injury. Again, everyone's really friendly. There was no one bitter after the fight, after losing or winning or anything like that. I believe this gentleman in the blue did win his fight. And again, you just want to make sure they have a good neuro exam, they can follow commands. And again, you're really watching out for concussions or any injuries that they might not know they have, or maybe they're hiding. So the reason why this guy's laughing is every time I want to check orientation, are they able to tell you person, place, or thing? So one of the questions I ask is, who's the president? And you quickly find out people's political beliefs because they will tell you who the president is and what they think of the president, pro or con. So that's just something I laugh about. I don't get into political debates with athletes or patients or anything like that, but it is kind of funny, all the responses I do get when I ask that. So again, this is just a clip of a fight that I watched over. It's something to do as a doctor. It's fun and it's great, and I'll continue to do so. And hopefully I'll move on and do bigger and more events. All right, thanks for watching.